right, so Leo, thank you so much for the question and hello. So you're saying that when you speak English, everything goes well, but out of the blue, you get stuck sometimes. You don't know why. You feel like all the words and phrases just slip my. Yes. So I would encourage you to, going with the theme of today, is to observe yourself. When do you freeze the most? Because maybe, and maybe not, but maybe there's a pattern of when you feel like out, because right now it feels like out of the blue, you get stuck sometimes. So I would be curious to observe yourself and figure out, is it out of the blue or are there certain triggers? Maybe it's when you speak with native speakers, you feel more nervous. And those are the times when you freeze more. Maybe it's certain topics that you didn't realize. Oh, every time I'm giving a presentation about the Monday meetings and I have to use the future tense to tell my team what to do, that's where you get stuck a little more. So sometimes observing when those moments of freeze happen, if there is a pattern, that makes it a lot easier to approach and find solutions, whether it's breathing more, maybe preparing a little bit more, or building vocabulary for certain topics could be really helpful. Now, the other thing is, while you're finding out if there's a pattern, something that's really interesting for you for those moments, because maybe there isn't a pattern, breathe. I can tell you right now, when you freeze, you are holding your breath. Regardless of whether there's a pattern or a topic or a trigger, the number one thing you can do in those is, and I find sometimes being open about the freeze can help take some pressure off. So instead of just, "Mm, what am I," and just kind of getting physically awkward, I would recommend own it, right? Just breathe. You know what? I'm having a hard time finding the word. I was thinking about, and then describe it in a different way. So when you bring in the people that you're talking to and you let them know what's happening, it actually comes across as really confident. So don't, instead of getting like anxious and worked up, just breathing and just having that moment of like, oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Um, and then if you don't know how to describe it in a different way, just say, you know what? I'll come back to that later. Moving on to this point. So it takes a really confident person to mess up out loud. And I love that. I think someone who can mess up or forget or have those moments of insecurity, do it out loud and be really smooth and confident about being insecure. That is such a beautiful trait. I think that's where you really like show charisma and confidence. So that could be something that might help you there. Thank you, Leo, for your question.